here with Andy Purdy, Chief Security Officer at Huawei, and we're talking about 5G and of course Huawei's business worldwide. Andy, thanks so much for being with us. As we know, back in May, the US government put Huawei on the entity list. What's been the ongoing effect of that, or what sort of happened since that first occurrence?
Well, Huawei has had to ramp up our Plan B, which is trying to find alternative sources. The entity list prevented over 130 American companies from selling to Huawei, which was about $11 billion annually. So we've been getting additional sources of supply. So for example, in our 5G equipment, we just recently shipped 40,000 base stations with no American components whatsoever. So one effect is, although it's not quite clear what the impact it will be on Huawei, if we're not allowed to buy from the American companies, it could affect over 40,000 jobs in America. So that is a very troubling thing, and even though we're now shipping without American components, we want to come back and buy from America. So we hope we're given that right. We're hoping the American companies will be allowed to sell to us.
And on the impact side of this, we look at Huawei's Q3 results, and maybe you could give us a reminder of what happened there, but it doesn't seem like things are slowing down at all.
Well, Huawei's global revenues year over year for the third quarter were up over 24% with a profit of 8.7%, which is just a remarkable story. Really ramping up, of course, the 5G sales as that cycle of telecommunications innovation rolls out, and our mobile devices have done very well as also. The projection now, rather than an impact on our global revenues of a reduction of the growth of 30 billion, they're now projecting that our projected growth will be impacted as much as $10 billion because of the entity list.
So does the US need Huawei as much as Huawei needs the US? Is there an equivalency there?
Well, right now, at least in the short term, when you look at American suppliers wanting to sell to Huawei, technology which previously had already gone through national security concern review, that the fact is that that's a concrete benefit to America from globalization, those over 40,000 jobs.
Right.
And so if they go away, that's going to be a long-term impact. In fact, when you hear about companies being asked to bring manufacturing back to the United States, nobody's talking about numbers like in excess of 40,000 jobs.
Right.
On the other hand, our ability to sell to our customers, the rural wireless tier 3 providers, are impacted, and we're hoping they're going to be allowed to keep our technology. There's an effort in Congress to pay them to rip and replace. But I think government's getting an understanding from the private sector that it's going to take a lot more time and a lot more money to take out our gear, and there are ways to address risk in a comprehensive way that provides transparency.
Okay, let's talk about 5G, because that's obviously on everyone's mind who owns a mobile phone. Huawei's obviously a worldwide leader in 5G in terms of base station shipments, deployments, and just general progress in getting the technology out there. Is it going to license that technology to US companies, or has it already?
Well, our founder, Mr. Ren, made an offer a month or two ago to license the full stack of our 5G technology to an American company, and he'd prefer that it be an American company. He believes, and I think a lot of people in the industry believe, that the United States would really benefit if we had our own major telecom equipment provider. The ecosystem would benefit by having competition, which helps reduce price, increases innovation, and promotes resilience. And the number of jobs that could be created in the United States if the technology led to manufacturing in the country and the jobs that could go with it. So it's a pretty extraordinary offer, and I don't know whether or not a major company is going to step in to take advantage of it, but I hope there's serious discussions, because I think it would be a mistake for America to miss out on this opportunity.
Yeah, it's an interesting offer, and it's definitely a compelling one, especially as you're talking about driving down the price of service and the price of goods, in the mobile market. Let's talk about the European market real quick. In Germany, Huawei had Germany sort of left the door open for Huawei when it comes to 5G. Weren't in the initial, I guess, deployments, but things have changed there. Can you maybe give us an update on what's going on there?
Well, the US has put pressure on a number of allies and countries around the world not to allow Huawei to participate in 5G. The UK and Germany have pushed back, and now Germany's made a decision that they're going to allow Huawei to compete for 5G. More importantly, Germany is coming up with a comprehensive approach for standards to set the requirements and for certification for testing that would apply to all vendors.
Okay.
And so that's the kind of thing that we think the European Union, through the European Network Information Security Agency, that they may well do. There's also a major effort globally to develop standards for the equipment per se. And I believe Germany is going to include the Network Equipment Security Assurance requirements, which set standards and set testing requirements. That's the kind of thing that will give an objective and transparent basis for knowing which products are worthy of trust, which we'll all benefit from.
Right, so not just a market by market, but like across the entire EU, maybe the goal would be to apply a single standard of testing to all vendors who are entering that market.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Take care.